Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by the good folks at Vaughn Lane. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined every day by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Tell us where you're checking in from this morning, what you're drinking, get your questions in. We got quite a bit to talk about this morning, guys. We got a couple of guests as well, so we'll get to those here in a little bit. But first, as we do every Thursday morning, we got to look at the SEC availability reports. Of course, Michael Tapp on there, but any surprises, guys?
I think there's some encouraging news that C.J. Baxter and Xavier Filsaime both moved up to probable. That leads leads me to believe that both are going to play. That helps the safety depth chart, Jerry, with Michael Tapp out. But maybe more importantly, and I think what we've all been waiting for is C.J. Baxter to return to see if he can give some life to this Texas run game, particularly in between the tackles. Longhorns need that, but it also, the other thing that it verified is that Cole Hudson, the starting center, is going to be out for at least one more week as well. A young man got injured in a practice just after the Oklahoma game, forcing Connor Robertson into duty. We'll see if the Longhorn offensive front can give them some time, give Arch some time, and create some run lanes against Mississippi State with Connor Robertson, but also with the addition of C.J. Baxter, it sounds like, at least for the first time this year.
Yeah,
first time since the first game of the year.
On the Mississippi State side, Fluff Bothwell was out last week. He's now questionable, stud running back, something to watch there. Their best linebacker, Zachary Tillman's out for the first half with targeting. Somebody on TexasFootball.com had asked about the offensive lineman for Mississippi State. The one is Blake Steen. He was seen as he was a starter in game one. He's been out since game one. So they lost him early enough to where they've replaced him and moved on. Really good player. But they've had the same 5 starters in, I think, all but one of their games now since he's been out. I think they had a game with one more injury. So their offensive line is settled in. This isn't a recent injury, but it has been an impactful injury for them. But Fluff Bothwell is one that to watch there because he is a top 3 or 4 running back in the SEC. And he did not play against Florida, and they still had, 380 yards, 375 yards of offense, and Blake Shapen missed 2 or 3 touchdowns, like walk-in touchdowns in that game. But Fluff Bothwell would be a big deal for them because that kind of gives them, with Booth, 2 quality backs. So we'll see if Bothwell can go as well. If some of y'all are wondering why I'm in a great mood today, Dylan Jester, as long as Wimby and Otani stay healthy, how lucky are we as sports fans? Jeez. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We're seeing 2 things we've never seen in sports before. And as long as they stay healthy, it's going to be a fun ride for sports fans the next decade. I mean, 6 to 8, 10 years. I mean,
we've been getting a lot of comments the last 24 hours about Tony Hill's segment yesterday, guys, both on our website, social media, etc. He sparked a little discussion, Jerry, between us. As well as the fans, and I think he struck a nerve in the process, right? Tony wanting a different style of play from the Texas offense, particularly on the offensive line. Feels like they need to be a little bit more physical, but also a little bit smarter with play calling and trying to get Texas going here. And I think that's going to be the question for the game against Mississippi State. What are we going to see on the Texas offense or with this Texas offense going into Mississippi State? Jerry, do you have an idea of what we might see more of when Sark says he's going to change some things up? Any specific ideas?
Short answer is nah. I mean, I got to see it first. I'm just being real. It's like I'm going to see it before I believe it at this point. Because, look, I mean, we were told early in the season they were working on a lot of things in practice you hadn't seen in games. So now I'm in wait until I see it and I'll believe it mode, being honest. And look, it's got to be a mentality one for me, and I think that's what one of the things Tony Hills was getting at. There has to be a mentality in physicality in this run game in the SEC, in my opinion. But I do think, look, if you can try, and it depends on how what a defense shows you, right, as a coach. But you have to try to replicate Oklahoma as much as possible the rest of the way. I mean, but again, so many, it's more than one player. It's more than one position. It's more than any coach, one coach for me. It's a lot right now. Everybody's like, well, I'll fix the offensive line and everything will be fine. Not if your quarterback's missing wide open throws. So it's like there's so many things right now that it's not one thing that leads to 170 yards of offense against an average to bad defensive team. It's more than one thing. So the Oklahoma game plan, and look, I do believe this. You simplify and find things you do really well, and you rep those until you do them great. Now, I think that can get you so far. Then some teams will adapt in the way they defend you, in the way over the next few games, right? But that is the one thing that's true in any sport is something you do well, you rep it and rep it and rep it until you execute it great. And that's a really good starting point. And I think Texas' best chance to do that is the Oklahoma game plan with this team.
Yeah,
Sorry, Bobby.
That's okay. The OC's job, according to Ambassador of Texas, and I agree with this, is to find what works in the game. Sark has failed in this respect all season, notwithstanding Red River shootout. Well, I mean, you don't include two of the three other non-conference games. I mean, they rolled over those teams. I agree with that. They did not. I mean, look, nothing worked against Florida. Nothing really worked against Ohio State. So other than Oklahoma, nothing worked against Kentucky for sure. They had 8 first downs. That is something that Sark needs to, bite the bullet on and stick with what he can do. At the same time, I'm sure he's sitting there thinking, how in the hell are we going to beat a team like Georgia if we do that? How the hell are we going to beat a A&M team that's putting up 30 plus a game right now? So there's a give and take, but there's some truth to what Ambassador of Texas says there.
All right, Bobby, before we move on, I'm going to let you tell everyone this morning about Vaughn Lane.
Yeah, absolutely. From Texas football Saturdays to NFL Sundays, Formula One that was this past week. This fall is stacked with things to do in and around the state of Texas. And Vaughn Lane is the smart way to get there. Forget TSA lines or fighting I-35 traffic, I-45 traffic, I-10. With Vaughn Lane, you board in minutes at a luxury hotel terminal. Then it's just 22 big first-class seats, each with Wi-Fi outlets and an onboard attendant bringing snacks, drinks, and yes, even beer and cocktails. You'll arrive relaxed and ready for a kickoff, a concert, or family time. Booking open now through December. You can also lock in Thanksgiving and Christmas travel. Go to VaughnLane.com, use code OTF25, and save $20 on your first ride. Vaughn Lane, elevated regional bus transportation, your private jet on wheels. I'm telling you, relieve the stress in your travel plans in and across the state of Texas.
I like that new.
Hey, is 36 days a record? Somebody's asking, Blake.
I was trying to think about that the other day, and I think I need to go back.
I probably just jinxed you like the guy that shoots 90% the free throw line.
I'm going 50 at least this time, but I think 42. When y'all were at SEC Media Days is when it happened.
Okay.
I accidentally muted myself trying to mute Jeff, and I think it was 42, 41. I got to go back and look though, but we're getting close.
You get to 50, we could do away with the sign. Got to come up with something new shtick for you, Blake.
Yeah,
that's right. One day we'll get to 50. I hope anyway. All right, guys. Well, earlier this week we took a look at the line and weather, but we haven't really looked at it since then for this weekend's game. Of course, it opened at 6. I know it says 8.5. It opened at 6.5. It's moved to 7 in Texas' favor, but it looks like for the most part until the evening, pretty pleasant weather.
Yeah. What time's the kick? 2:30, 3 o'clock? I can't remember.
Yep. Right. Yeah.
It should be nice weather in Starkville. It's football time. I mean, it's the fall. you're going to get good weather, whether it's morning, noon, or night. Hopefully Texas, and talking about the line here, Jerry and Blake, I'm a little reticent to pick Texas to win by double digits or any of that stuff anymore right now. And I think any fan would be that has watched this Texas offense should be cautious, because for Texas to win like that, they're going to have to get points from different ways, like a Ryan Niblett punt return, right? Because they haven't really blown the doors off of offense on anybody, any Power 4 team at this point, including OU. We're all happy about what they did against OU because how dominant it was in the second half. But you got to remember, offense only scored 16 points.
Yeah.
Ryan Niblett scored 7 of those.
It's been a while.
Now, was it a repeat? Was it a good performance? Absolutely. But looking at Texas and thinking they're going to score a ton of points is just, without some kind of turnover or punt return, et cetera, unlikely.
It's been a while since Texas put up big numbers against a Power 4 team offensively in terms of points. So we're at the points where the players have changed and the results are staying too close to the same with different strengths and weaknesses. So the overall is when the players change and the results are staying close to the same, then that's a different discussion. So there needs to be some increased offensive output at some point the rest of the season. I mean,
there needs to be, or else it's going to be a season gone wrong.
100%.
Which is exactly what, they're looking dead in the face of a season gone wrong potentially right now. Now, they also still have all the opportunity in the world. But 5-2 with three top 10 teams remaining on your schedule? We'll see. Not just 3 top 10 teams, but 3 really good offenses. 4 really good offenses if you count Arkansas. Yeah. Texas got a tall order in front of them.
We got a couple of super chats this morning, fellas, that we need to get to. Let's see here. Corey King says, we heard that spring ball had a different format in an OTA/NFL model than in years past due to the experience level of the current roster. Do you think that this has contributed to our woes?
Hard to say.
Yeah.
Hard to say, Corey. I think that my take on that is I think the woes are offensive line and quarterback receiver relationship primarily right now. So Emmett Mosley not getting time with Arch Manning, Jack Injuries not getting time with Arch Manning in the spring. I think that's meaningful, actually. Ryan Wingo being injured, DeAndre Moore having some injuries.
I wasn't there for the spring.
Parker Livingston being the only guy. Who does he have a natural rapport with from spring? Parker Livingston. I think that some of that is part of this offense's issue right now. It's not just quarterback. It's not just offensive line. It's not just inside run game. It's the relationship between some of the key parties. Like Arch has, 6 weeks working with Jack Injuries instead of 6 months. How important is that? And I think you see he has confidence when he throws to Parker Livingston. So I think it absolutely matters.
And then we have a super chat.
And by the way, I want to say this. I think there's a chance that you see more colleges go to that for spring. So I think that's something that maybe this is a discussion 5, 6, 7 years from now, because I think you're going to see more colleges go to that model in the spring. I don't think that's just a 1-year deal for some. Some were already starting to do it.
Yeah, despite whether Texas wins or not, and whether or not it's a burden to the University of Texas.
Yeah.
And then Nathaniel with the super chat. Thank you, Nathaniel. Says, hook 'em. We are still winning, so it could be worse.
Always.
Arch gets blitzed. He shuts down and loses mechanics. And not being able to run against Kentucky? How? What can Sark realistically do in a week's time frame?
Can't block anybody. It's hard to move the football. That's the reality. And Arch does break down oftentimes when he gets blitzed, and the reason why is because they're bringing heat and they're not blocking him, and it's a free rusher, and he's got limited options. I think that. Can you put that back up real quick? Because there's one piece of it.
But I do think it's important to add this.
Wait, Jerry. I was trying to let me finish. Okay, not being run against, being able to run against Kentucky. How? They didn't even try to run inside because I'm telling you, they don't think they have an inside runner if it's not Cedric Baxter. Now go ahead, Jerry. Sorry.
It's the reason it's deeper is even as far as the Arch gets blitz, shuts down, loses mechanics. Even in the games, his worst game of the year was UTEP. So that's why it's a deeper thing right now than on offensive line or any one position or any one thing. It's not been proven out to be that's the only reason. And that's kind of where I come out on this. You can't continuously miss the easy throws and layups and expect your offense to play at a high level no matter what's going on around you. It's more than one thing for me.
No, I agree. It's a multitude of factors.
But I will say this going into the Mississippi State game. After the Florida game, it was a rivalry game against Oklahoma. You got a different, inspired effort. As bad as it was against Kentucky, you're going to get a very inspired effort in Starkville early on because that was an embarrassing thing that happened to an offense, to a head coach who's an offensive coach. I mean, that was very embarrassing. You're going to get an extremely inspired effort in Starkville. I mean, it's a pretty easy message for a coaching staff this week. Look, man, we've been on the road twice and we've almost laid 2 eggs. Okay. And we got lucky. We won a game, but we won and it's great. Ryan Niblett, defense, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be an inspired effort. So I'm interested to see what that looks like in the first quarter and a half of the game.
I mean, look, they've been on a true road game 3 times this year, and they've been bad all 3 times.
Yeah.
Now, Oklahoma is not a true road game, but Ohio State 7 points. Go to Florida, you score 20, 21.
Yeah.
But you get sacked 6 times. You go to, or whatever it was, you go to Kentucky, you can't even move the football. You have 8 first downs. They've been embarrassed on the road this year.
Yeah.
Flat out, offensively embarrassed.
Yeah.
So, and that goes from every position, to your point, Jerry, to the coaching staff, et cetera. So if we don't see an inspired effort, that will be surprising to me. I do think we will. And I go back to what I said earlier this week when Colin Simmons in the postgame and how he talked, Ethan Burke on the Monday press availability and how he spoke. I have some positive vibes around the team in that regard, but they need to pick it up and make it consistent.
Yeah.
It can't just be a 1 quarter, got to get after them in 1 quarter. It has to start being consistent. Has to be.
Sailor Joe, that's kind of been my thing too. You don't want to be the team that's like this. And that's what, with around not having a great offensive performance, that's what Texas has been this year. And that's the problem is you have a lot of road games and you against good people and you have some really good teams coming down the stretch. And if you're like this, it rarely ends well. Rarely.
For those on podcast, Jerry's making the sign of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Can't be a roller coaster.
No, it can't be a roller coaster.
Jeff Carey with the super chat says, Jerry, I used ChatGPT to check the Babe Ruth Boston Red Sox years where he was arguably the best pitcher and hitter. He did not have a game quite as good as Shohei.
I hadn't done the research, but that's good to know because I can't imagine anybody ever having a better game in baseball than that, especially in the game that was a closeout game. That's totally unreal. Unbelievable.
And then a super chat from Brandon Walker this morning. Thank you, Brandon. He says, Sark the CEO over Sark the OC / head coach.
I think there's starting to be some evidence that may be the case. We'll see how they finish out this year. Let's break down Sark's comment. I think it's a great time. We haven't really talked a lot about how I wouldn't say defended, but what he said when it was asked of him if he ever thought about giving up the OC role, Jerry. His exact quote, or the quote that I think was important, is he basically said, look, they hired me because I called plays.
Yeah.
I need to keep calling plays. Well, they did hire you for that reason, your offensive ingenuity. Okay. But they really hired you to win games. So if you, as the head coach, think there's a better way or a better path to win games with someone else as the offensive coordinator, you have carte blanche to make that decision.
Yeah.
Don't think you're backed into the corner, Steve Sarkisian, of not making that decision, which is a little bit what he came out with. And I was like, that's not exactly the goal now. I mean, you've proven and gotten this program to a place where it's elite. At least we think. Let's see what happens from here on. But he has the ability to go out and get an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and look, I think Mac Brown was quoted somewhere yesterday saying it's a really big job, and he couldn't have been the OC, the play caller at Texas. He said he talked about how he gave that up early in his career, and I'm not sitting here saying it absolutely has to happen. But what I will say is these are huge jobs now. I mean, there's a lot that goes into being a head coach at these Blue Bloods because it run like an NFL team, and you're pretty much the true GM because you're the decision maker on all personnel. Period. End of story. It comes to you. People can blame other people, but you are the guy. You get the ultimate say. That's your decision, and then you have the alumni, everything that goes with that, all the meetings and everything you have to do within that arena. You have portal, right? I mean, there is so much more on a head coach's plate in today's day and age of college athletics and football at a major university than there even was 7-8 years ago. There's just so much more that's going into this now that it does beg the question for any of these guys moving forward is if you also Lincoln Riley is a play caller, right? If you're going to take on all that, how can you, over the course of time, can you truly be successful doing all of it? Because this is a much bigger job, Bobby, than it was. How many years ago? 5, 6, 8. I mean, it's a much bigger job now.
Well, with NIL, it's definitely changed the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. NIL has definitely increased the workload of a college football coach.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And by the way, you now have how many guys? 50 people in your under you in your department, in your football organization. Those are a lot of people to manage too. And head coaches are taking on all of this. John Luber.
Some more super.
Hey, by the way, one of our guests coming up later today is Brandon Tucker, the D-line trainer. We've had him on here before, of Colin Simmons, Alex January, some other guys, trains a bunch of NFL guys. We're going to get his thoughts on Colin Simmons, what he's seen from Colin this year. Obviously 5.5 sacks the last 2 games has really come on after maybe not the start he had envisioned. But has really come on. So it's going to be fun to get Brandon Tucker, who's also a coach in the Dallas area, on to talk about Colin Simmons, Alex January, and some of the guys he trains. He's also trained some NFL guys that played at Texas.
Trains Trevor Gooseby a little bit too, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah. Good stuff. Will Matthews coming up at around 8:45, I believe, as well.
There we go. Let's see here. Sark After Dark with Super Chat. College football has evolved, NIL, transfer portal, etc., since the day Sark was hired. I think we all want him to admit it, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's constantly changing. I mean, and there's more on these guys the head coach's plate. There's more. You got, like I said, the organizations are getting bigger too because of all these changes. It's requiring the organizations to grow at these major programs. I mean, heck, we've entered an area where pros from Europe and the G League are coming to college basketball. That's going to be tried in football at some point. I mean, this is going to continue to evolve. And so these jobs are getting bigger and bigger. And look, I think it's going to get increasingly tough for a head coach who's also pretty much the GM, even though somebody else that's a GM in title. You're the GM though, because these guys have control over everything. It's going to be more difficult and more difficult over time as things continue to change and grow in college athletics the way they are and changing to be able to wear all those hats. I think it's going to be a lot for these guys. And I think you'll see less and less of the play callers be head coaches than there are now.
Well, like Bobby said, we're going to have Will Matthews joining us here in a moment. We also got some more super chats to get to. But first, Bobby, tell us about one of your favorite places, Kirby Lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Kirby Lane All Day Cafe has been an Austin institution since 1980, celebrating 45 years in business with the local vibe and late night pancakes you know and love. Now, dinner is where they are raising the bar. Bold, chef-driven entrees like steak frites and Mediterranean chicken. Their famous queso. Kirby queso is delicious. Shareable plates, plus a full line of gluten-free options. And the bar stocked with craft cocktails that deliver. Kirby Lane is the Austin original for a night out with real flavor. Check the full dinner lineup tonight at KirbyLaneCafe.com. Now with multiple locations across Central Texas. Again, KirbyLaneCafe.com.
Then I'm going to tell you all about AG1. I got my whole box here of travel packs. I am ready to go today with AG1. Oh, man. AG1, good stuff. Good stuff. Like I've told y'all all week, I used to wake up, take a bunch of vitamins, take a bunch of supplements. It was confusing, time-consuming. It's a little bit of everything. That all changed when I heard about AG1. Been using that for over a year now. I absolutely love it. It's a daily foundational nutrition in one drink. Pretty much every nutrient you can think of is in this thing. It has 5 probiotic strains and 75 plus vitamins and minerals. AG1 Next Gen replaces the need for a multivitamin, probiotics, and much more. And I got my son Colt hooked on it. He drinks it every morning before football practice. We both can tell you we have more energy. We have better digestive support. It's a great all-around product and a great wellness routine. All starts with your gut, and that's why AG1 is the way to go. It's not just another supplement. It's a daily micro habit that supports whole body health in one scoop. So head to drinkag1.com/ontexas. They're going to hook you up with a free welcome kit, which includes a bottle of vitamin D and free AG1 travel packs, like I just showed you, when you first subscribe. That's drinkag1.com/ontexas. Check them out. And then I'm going to tell you about Prize Picks as well, because we make decisions daily, but being right can get you paid. It's time for you to make that money. Prize Picks is simple. You're just going to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get those picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. And it's the best way to get in on sports action in more than 40 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and of course, right here in the Lone Star State. And this week, I got the quarterback special going. I got Marcel Reed over 220.5 passing yards. I got Arch Manning under 214.5. And then I'm taking OU quarterback John Mateer to go under 249.5. So come join me on those picks or make your own in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code ONTEXAS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's ONTEXAS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's Prize Picks. It's good to be right. I think Bobby left us, Jerry.
All right, well, let's bring in.
I was going to say we'll bring in Will.
Will Matthews.
What is
We'll let Bobby get the last question, Will. We'll let Bobby get the last question when he gets back in here.
Okay, that sounds good.
Hey, Will, so from your vantage point in Kentucky, kind of your thoughts now, a few days after headed into Mississippi State.
I've been listening all week, and I was texting with my boy Tony Hills from yesterday, and wow, that's my guy. He has been excited about life and football since I've known him. So
Yes.
20-some years. That's T Hills. But I think this horse is pretty dead. We beat it real good. And, what I'm calling for is for the guys to have a bounce back game. The writing's on the wall. When you have a performance, especially on the offensive side like that, like the only place to go is up. And I think we've got those pieces. Those pieces haven't come together in the way that we thought. Maybe they need a little more time. Maybe coaching snafus might be getting in the way, but really the guys are inches away from something special. And so hopefully they believe that. And that is not just something that's coming from, the guys we're hearing most of the week, like Taff and those guys who are bought into the culture. But really, it's the second string guy that people aren't talking about right now. And that's the person that needs to come with the culture. That's the person that needs to perpetuate it. And that's the person that's got to show up this week. This is a special week. And I think this week will show us a lot of what they're made of. After that Florida loss, they buttoned it up. They dialed back the offense. They made it easier to work through. But I think they got to just go back to that same game plan until it's not that game plan. Do what you can until you do what you want.
Hey, Will, you're on the field,
Yeah.
And you're really close to the things that from the TV you can't really see or feel. So with Michael Taft being out, he was the communication guy, right? Even though he didn't wear the headset,
Yep.
he led the communication of the Texas defense. He was the eyes in the back of the Texas defense. What is that? How do you think Texas adjusts from that? Because somebody's going to have to take over that key communication and set of eyes and keeping everybody on the same page role for this team.
Yeah, this is the opportunity for guys like Derek Williams and Jelani McDonald to step up, not just in making plays, not just getting into the run, not just being in the right place, but what Texas on the defensive side, especially on the secondary, will lose because of Taft is exactly what you said, his ability to connect that whole back end together. I tell you, I was on that goal line stand when he was right there in the C gap, shot that C gap and was behind Jelani, right there with Ant Hill, right there with the whole crew, getting a hit to stop there. That you got a guy who might be a little undersized and may not have all the attributes all around, but puts his body in harm's way all the time. And so I think those shoes will be huge. I know how difficult it was on the secondary when we didn't have Malik. That was a bigger injury than we know, especially for the Florida game. I hope, and I think that they can with Jelani and Derek Williams, especially with a team that's ready to run the ball in the way that Mississippi State will. Can they bring it down, and can they be that iron curtain that Texas needs, especially with Taft being out?
Hey, Will, you mentioned that you're thinking of a bounce back game. Okay. You're down on the sidelines. I mentioned earlier today about Colin Simmons and his post-game conversation that was really strong. Ethan Burke, I thought on Monday was particularly strong in how he talked about the team. Is there anything that being around the team makes you sense that there is going to be a bounce back game as opposed to more Kentucky or more Florida or more Ohio State style of offensive play, in your opinion?
What's been really good about the guys, and no matter what has happened, they've been kind of chirping the same chirp ever since spring ball into fall camp. and you've got your leaders continually talking about it, continually pushing it out there, start pushing it out there. Even the younger guys, when they get on the mic. I spent a couple of minutes with Ryan Niblett this week just to interview him and just to talk about his journey. And what a spectacular young man, just a recent father. He was looking to leave Texas, wanted to get in the portal and go somewhere else. And Sark stepped up and said, hey, I've got your back. There's a role for you here. We may not be able to know what that is. And really what we have seen is he's become the offense. And he has set the offense up in a way he's either scored an OU or put Texas in a place that has helped them move the ball when we've all seen the troubles moving the ball. I think, and we talked about this earlier, when you have guys like Parker Livingston, Leon Galafau, Ryan Niblett, chirping the right things and also making the plays, that's when the team has been the most successful. I'm looking for that crew to have a good game. If those guys have a good game, we will know that Texas is doing their thing. I mean, it may not be perfect all around, but definitely things will be more positive.
Hey, Will, after you, we have Brandon Tucker, who has trained Colin Simmons for a few years, trains a bunch of guys in the NFL. He's going to be on the show. Colin has had a whale of a last couple of games, but he also started to show some really good leadership. Kind of your thoughts on Colin, what you've seen last couple of games, some growth you've seen from Colin, because I'm going to ask the same question of a longtime D-line instructor in about 5 minutes here.
Yeah, I mean, what I've really seen from him as started preseason. He was definitely coming out of the summer touted as the top guy, the top sophomore coming in. And really what happens after your freshman year is teams see you and they go, that guy's good. We're going to scheme for him. Well, the first 4 games, schemed at him, ran at him, pushed him around, and he was able to find his footing, specifically 3 TFLs in Florida. I mean, in that, although we did not win the game, that was something that was a way that we started to pull back the momentum, especially on the defensive side, and get the offense an opportunity to win that thing. It's those things when adversity comes and you're supposed to be the top guy, the preseason, all of this, and you don't have the numbers. And in fact, your whole defense doesn't have the numbers, and you find a way to do something like that. That for me, really telling of the guys. He's got the ability in spades. He's got the speed. He's got the vibrato, but you also have got to execute when the time comes. Adversity showed for him, and he was able to get over it. Now, the words that he's uttering now is a guy that is saying, hey, I am going to step up. I'm going to make sure that whatever the destiny of this team rides on my shoulders, and I'm going to play my part. I'm not the only person here, but I'm going to play my part. And I tell you, like, I've been in the NFL where, with the Lions when nothing was working and everybody could blame everybody, and everybody was. To see somebody that doesn't take that route is something very special. And hopefully they continue to lean on him, and hopefully he continues to put up those big stats.
Will, you mentioned him as a leader coming on. Who are the other leaders on this team right now, in your opinion? They're obviously Taft was one. I mean, anybody else that you're kind of noticing as the guy on the sidelines, kind of corralling everyone?
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed watching the maturation of Jelani McDonald. I tell you, having him post game, talking to him offline, and just what he's wanting to bring to the team. I mean, he's an incredible athlete. We've seen by some of the interceptions and some of the things that he's been able to do. But watching him become more mature has been great. Gooseby, so after the game, we're sitting with him in the post game, and the only question that matters is, hey, what's going on with the offense? And immediately he goes, there are some things that went well, there's some things that didn't go well, and I'll take responsibility for that. That to me is, if you can win the game, feel like you lost, and take it on the chin, that's something special. Whether the guys grow in ability and whether they're able to pick up those TE stunts, that's different. We're talking about the things that you don't need ability for, and that's where the leadership comes from. He's taking it on the chin. He's saying, hey, we got to play better. We got to do this. We got to do that. that's really special. And also one more that I'm really enjoying getting to know is Hero Canoe.
Interesting.
The guy is, and it's not just he's this barking presence. Oh, you got to do this. He has a smile on his face. He shows up to work. Every time I'm sitting with him, hey, Will, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you, in his wonderful German accent.
Is he an old soul, Will? Is he like an old soul personality type?
He really is. And he's like,
Yeah.
as much as he is an old soul, he's like kind of giggles too. I mean, y'all see from the interviews, he's just ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
I just want to do what's best for the team. And it's those kind of selfless guys. And I think you get to see them a lot more on the defensive side because of the success that they're having. But I really, Hero Canoe he's been another one that's been really fun to watch.
That's good. That's good to hear, Will. Well, we go into this game. Texas, we just went over it. I think 7-point favorites now, opened at 6.5. It's time for your weekly prediction, my man.
This is easy this year.
We all know what we're going to get every week with Texas, so this should be really easy to Jerry's.
Yeah, I'm thinking 17-13 Texas. I'm sure that's probably about everybody's view right there. I'm spotting them a touchdown in their own house, which our team has been really great about keeping people out of the end zone. So I think that they will. If they don't get a touchdown in their house, it could be somewhere 6-17, 6-13. The Texas's offense has really got to prove it to me. And you know, even on air last week, I was saying if the offense isn't scoring, the defense has got to do it, or Ryan Niblett's got to do it. Like, it's got to happen. And so I see Alfio Veazey. That's my guy. Big Cat. Yeah. What's up, man? But that's where we are. The guys, I can't get in the 20s anymore until they put some points on the board. And, you know, they haven't done it yet. I believe that they can. And so calling for a bounce back game. But even in that bounce back game, I can't give them more than 17. You know,
and Will, to your point, Jeff Levy's no dummy. He's not punting it to Ryan Niblett this week. So they're not going to punt the ball to Niblett this week.
If he punts the Niblett, he would be insane, man. Yeah. And Levy's gonna, and he is a smart guy. Like, he's gonna play directly to Texas's away from their strengths, right to the things that Texas has not been able to do. I would see a ton of stunts up front. I would put those linebackers in the A gaps. I would twist them back and forth like that, like the old OU twists from back in the day. I would do all of that stuff up front to just put Texas on its heels, because what we have found is if you change up the front, move the front in any way, it's really difficult for them to find those front guys. And if you get somebody one-on-one, you might be able to win. Texas has got to move the pocket. They've got to keep them on the heels. The running game cannot look so like, okay, pass now, run now. We've got to have some movement there. You got to get Wise on the ball a couple more times than, what did he have, six carries in the first half. I mean, all right, my boy T. Hills hit it all yesterday, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but we know, and everybody's got the film. The film is the film. Texas has got to find a way to do something differently, and I think differently has got to be simple. Simple is the way.
Hey, hopefully C.J. Baxter returning, listed as probable, helps them this weekend. Will. All right, Will, you're headed to Starkville on Friday, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
We'll hear from you again next week, buddy. You be safe, man.
Take your earplugs. Take your earplugs, Will. Those cowbells are loud on the sideline.
It's going to be a beast. It's going to be a beast down there. Thank y'all. Let's go.
Let's go. Hook up. Take care, man. All right. Good stuff. All right. Need to tell folks, if you don't mind, real quick, about Duck Camp. I'm wearing their hat right now. Duck Camp makes gear for folks who live for being out there, whether that's in a duck blind at sunrise or on the 40 acres for a Saturday kickoff, or in Starkville for a Saturday kickoff, for that matter. Born right here in Austin, Duck Camp builds best-in-class hunting and fishing apparel that works just as well for a full day in the field as it does for a long day of tailgating. From sun protection shirts that keep you cool during those early season scorchers to their iconic Game Series hats that feel like instant classics. Like I said, I'm wearing one of those right now. Duck Camp gear is ready for football season, hunting season, and every season in between. Get out there, stay out there, and hook 'em. Shop Duck Camp at duckcamp.com. Also, on Texas football users and viewers, you get a chance to get 25% your entire order use the code on Texas 25. That's on Texas 25 for 25% off at checkout. Check out our friends over at duckcamp.com.
And real quick, I'm going to tell everyone about Bub's Naturals. Collagen is the most abundant protein, and it's often referred to as the glue that holds our bodies together. Bubs helps restore collagen levels closer to what your body naturally had in its youth. It's unflavored. It makes your joints feel stronger, your hair and your nails grow healthier, and it makes your skin look smoother. My wife and I, we both love it. She puts it in her black coffee. I put it in a protein shake. You can't taste it at all. It mixes well in everything that I've tried it in, and it's absolutely great for you. There's no junk. There's zero sugars, zero sweeteners, zero fillers. It's from grass-fed, pasture-raised cattle, and it mixes seamlessly. You're going to love it. Live better longer. And for a limited time only, our listeners are getting 20% off at Bub's Naturals by using code ONTEXAS at checkout. All you have to do is just head to bubsnaturals.com. That's BUBS naturals.com. Use promo code ONTEXAS and you're all set. After you purchase, they're going to ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that On Texas Football sent you. All right, Jerry, I'm going to let you do the introduction while I bring him in.
We've had Brandon Tucker on before. Trench warfare. Brandon Tucker, one of the top defensive line trainers in this game, has worked with Colin Simmons since what age, Brandon?
14.
So and works with Alex January, Trevor Gooseby, guys that played at Texas that are in the NFL now. So I thought it'd be a great time to have you back on. Thank you for coming on. So I'm going to start with the obvious question because you're not just a really good D-line instructor. You're also kind of a sports psychologist to your guys from time to time, right? So talk about Colin Simmons, what you've seen from him this year. Obviously, maybe a season to get off to the start he envisioned. But this last few games, we've seen the All-American level from Colin Simmons that I think he expected and we all expected to see this year.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really good question. When I talk to Colin and my other guys, I just talk about how the process is the same. The standard is the standard, and I expect for you to perform the same way or close to the same way as you did at the same point in high school. So as a sophomore in high school, you saw Colin kind of break out, take over games. It's the same thing. He's a sophomore in college now. He's acclimated himself to the speed and the strength of the game playing in the SEC. And I think most importantly, he had to get used to being the full-time starter. Last year he had guys that could go in and soften guys up. He was more like a DPR in certain situations. Whereas first 3 games this year, it's like, oh boy, this isn't the same. And so once he adjusted, you start to see the generational talent that he is.
You look at Colin, Brandon, and the number of sacks has really climbed the last couple of weeks, like Jerry was talking about, kind of like he's come into his own, maybe whether it's him getting accustomed to it or him just getting a better feel for this season and what he can do. What do you think of him having he's dropping back into coverage quite a bit. They're trying to use him and make him more versatile. Yes. Is that something that a coach like yourself wants to see because it eventually makes him a more valuable draft pick potentially? Is that something that appeals to young guys?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He is that versatile player that can do that. He's always wanted to do it. We've actually had long, drag out, knockdown fights about, hey man, you go forward 90% of the time and backwards 10. Like there was a point where he really wanted to be a linebacker. And so the fact that PK is allowing him to do that, I think it really suits his skill set. And like you said, it does increase his value for Texas and at the next level.
Hey, Brandon, you said something in that first statement I want to go back to. Colin went from a DPR of sorts as a freshman and maybe the best in the country, National Freshman of the Year, which was quite an award with that freshman class, to the guy that said, all right, Colin, Mr. Sophomore, we're going to run at you.
Yeah.
So when you talk to Colin, what's that process like for a young pass rusher the first time that teams are like, all right, dude, we know you can rush the passer. Now take this hat in a run game.
It looked like Ohio State.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it looked like Ohio State. Everything is different. Pregame is different. You're not sneaking up on anybody. Like you said, they're game planning for you. And then after the game, the physicality of the game, when they're running directly at you, you feel different after the game. You feel like you've been in a car accident.
Yep.
And so now it alters everything you do. As a freshman running around with fresh legs, getting to be a DPR versus, okay, now everything hurts. We got a flight. I gotta make sure that I'm eating the right foods and doing the right things on a regular basis. It's my routine now. This is different from last year. Just establishing all of that. It takes a little bit of time, and you can't really start that until you've gone through that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Coach Tucker, want to ask a couple other questions here. You mentioned you've also worked with Alex January. I think Jerry said you worked a little with Trevor Gooseby. Who are some of the guys that you've got now that are young up and comers that people are going to need to know about?
Oh, that are in the high school training.
Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah. So I've got what I call the Big Five. So we'll start with Zane Rowe at Denton Geyer.
Yeah.
And Kyron Haywood at Denton Geyer. K. Adrian Redmond at DeSoto. Jerron Allen at Cedar Hill. And then my sleeper, we call him Mr. Sachs. He is at City View High School in Wichita Falls, man.
Wow.
Jake Bradford. And so he's the sleeper. So that's my Big Five. That's my Big Five. And they're all in the class of 2027.
Oh, so they're next year's guys.
Yes.
Yeah, they're next year's.
Yep, next year's. This year, really a really small class for me this year. I only have two guys that are going. One of them is going to Michigan State and Christopher Knowles out of Frisco Lone Star, and then the other one is Corey Thomas that's going to Bowling Green out of First Baptist.
Good stuff, Coach.
Hey, Brandon, so let's talk Alex January then
Yeah.
next. He missed a couple of games, obviously with a weird injury, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've heard of that injury before.
It was it's a throat injury, right?
A throat fracture type of injury.
Yeah. He and his dad and I just had a long conversation about that. I was unaware that there was a bone in the throat like that in the first place. Very, very bizarre.
Yeah.
But we try to learn something new every day. So yeah. He's back from that, playing at an extremely high level. AJ's always been the type to the tougher the competition, the tougher the game is, he just steps up. I mean, he's always been that way. I'm excited to see what Coach Baker has done with him in the spring and the summer to prepare him to play, man. I think he's going to have an amazing – I think he's having a pretty good season thus far, but I think when it's all said and done, he'll be an all-SEC performer.
And then Trevor Gooseby. I mean, obviously you're known for defensive line guys, but you also work with Trevor Gooseby. Kind of the growth you are seeing from Trevor. Because, look, this is his first year being a full-time starter, so he's going through a process as well here. Kind of your thoughts on Trev.
Yeah, so Trev came to me as a defensive end as a freshman at Woodrow Wilson. So to see him where he's at now, it's almost surreal. I have to pinch myself. And Trev is very cerebral. the type of conversations we have, he's asking me about how to block certain defenders based on what they're going to do situationally, which is stuff my NFL guys normally, want to talk to me about. I think Trevor last year really displayed great versatility, being able to play on the left side, the right side, not making many mistakes. Just an outstanding campaign last year by Trev. And so this year, I know he's got a true freshman starting next to him in Brooks, and he's kind of taken on the big brother role of, hey, man, I'm going to get you through this. And so really excited for him. I think that collectively that offensive line will eventually gel and get it together, play a lot better than what they have been playing. But Trevor, his maturation process, his growth process is just been surreal. It's almost like a dream.
Coach, tell folks out there how they can get a hold of you if they have young men in the Metroplex, I take it, that you get up there and work with them at Trench Warfare.
Yeah, so I'm old school. You can call me. You can call me.
Now we got him on the show.
Yeah. So my phone number is 469-269-8780. I'm on X at D-Line. I'm sorry, it's at TWF Training on X, and then on Instagram it's D-Line_Guru.
Hey, so I gotta leave you with this question, and I hate to put you on the spot. I don't want you to get hate texts, but I'm gonna ask this question.
You're good.
Who's the most talented guy you've ever worked with?
At what level?
It doesn't matter. Who's the most talented dude you've worked with? I always ask this question of guys like you. It's always interesting to hear what the responses are, because I know you don't want to get all the texts, but
yeah. So I got to ask a question.
Yes.
That's been with me throughout their high school, collegiate,
at any point.
Just at any point.
It could be draft training. It could be NFL. I mean, who's the one guy that you're like, that dude's just like, when I saw Jadeveon Clowney, talent-wise, in high school, I've never seen a guy that was that big, that was that fast, that explosive, that his first two steps covered that much ground. I mean, like, he's as talented as anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah. It would have to be Trayvon Walker.
Yep.
Yeah.
It would have to be if you include pre-draft, and so now you're talking about a bunch of made men. I've had 18 number one draft picks. So it'd have to be Trayvon. The first time I saw him, I thought he was a basketball player going into his sophomore year at Georgia. And so what he was able to do collegiately, and then what he's done in the league, it's got to be him. It's got to be him.
Good stuff.
Listen, I'm going to get some calls and texts. I tell you right now.
Sorry, I owe you.
Yeah,
if you got 18 of them, you're going to get some calls.
Well, no, I'm going to hear some from my Shamar Turner's going to call. And I'm going to hear from Murph too about that one. So,
hey, Brandon, thank you so much.
Hey, but Brandon, that tells you how talented Trayvon Walker truly. That's why I asked the question: like, who's the guy out there that is just different level?
Yeah, he's special. He's a football alien.
Yeah, there you go.
Brandon, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
You.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
working hard, man. Keep putting them out.
Thank you, brother.
All right, well, Jerry,
Great
thanks for bringing him on. We always love to hear from folks who have a little bit different viewpoint or a different angle, rather than a coach or a player or an analyst, et cetera. Somebody that's more in the, I don't want to say in the weeds, but more in the DNA of high school and college football and pro football. Those are always good guys. Brandon obviously knows his stuff and has worked a long time in that.
And for guys like Brandon, the one thing I've learned over my years doing this is, the training is part of it, but another part of that is kind of being the sports psychologist of sorts for these guys. I'm not trying to go Butch Harmon here as a golf coach instructor, but there's the mental part of it too. These guys are more than just, hey, here's your technique and here's how you do it. They really have to know those guys and be able to communicate with those guys and motivate those guys, and then be able to talk to those guys if they shoot them a call. Hey, man, things aren't going well, man. What are we thinking here? You almost have to be a sports psychologist of sorts, too. You have to really know your guys. You can't just train them and be done with them and then it's over. You have to be able to be in their head and know the guys, because some guys are audio learners, some guys are visual learners. There's all sorts of things that go with this, but those guys get leaned on when times are bad and good, and they have to be able to communicate and know their guys and help them through tough times.
Well, we got a lot of super chats that we're going to jump into, fellas. We're going to start here with John. Thank you, John. He says, can we get positive on the podcast? The basting is getting old. Jerry cracked some jokes.
Yeah. Yeah. Or somebody asked if the witch lost its head. It did not. She's here. So here. There we go. All right.
Jerry, I just want to say, ever since that witch made its appearance, the Texas offense has looked god awful.
Yeah.
So it may be time for us to
We need a
burn
new
the witch in the backyard or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Let's slowly remove her from
Yeah.
that. There you go.
Put the voodoo on Arch. Is what you did.
And then we actually talked about this earlier with a different super chat, but Roy says, do you think that if Texas had a spring game, it would have exposed the issues we're seeing now with the offense? And y'all said earlier, hard to say.
No, it is hard to say, but I go back. Look, they didn't have DeAndre Moore. They didn't have Ryan Wingo. They didn't have Jack Indries or Emmett Mosley. That's 4 of your top 5 receivers. Didn't have Trey Wisner. 5 of 6 in the spring. I do think that some of it has to do with lack of continuity in the offseason. That's my, but how much of it? Not a huge amount.
No.
And would we have seen some of it during spring game? Yeah, but look, everything about the spring game is that it is it's a zero-sum game. If the offense looks bad, then the defense looks good, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So,
and spring games are made for TV events nowadays anyway. It's going to be dialed up to look a certain way.
we're getting comments that there's an issue on
audio.
On audio. It is not us. We've been told that Amazon Web Services, and I don't know who Google maybe use Google Web Services, but there's a lot of issues across the internet right now with some stuff. I don't think it's us individually, though.
Yeah. And they're saying it's all of us. So it's definitely something going on, but not us individually.
It could be who you're using to view YouTube on, too, by the way. So, but it sounds good to us in the background.
Yep. All right. Then our next one here comes from Jeff Carey to OTF in chat right now. Would you take 8-4 with the win over 2-loss A&M, eliminating them from the playoffs?
It's a great question. Chat?
That would be 10-2.
Yeah, I'm not willing to give up yet. That's asking you to give up. You know, I think Texas has a chance still to do some stuff this year. So the answer for me, Jeff, is no.
And fill in the blank here from Parth. If we rush for blank yards, we walk out of Starkville with the W.
125.
What you got, Bobby?
Jeez. You think they need to rush for 125? How many times have they done that this year? Twice. I'll go 75. 75 to 80. Maybe 80, 85, actually. I do believe that Mississippi State's going to try to run the ball heavy on Texas.
Yeah.
So Texas has to have some idea of getting them there, but 125 is a lot. If they rush for 125 and don't win, that'll indict the defense some, in my opinion. Frankly, they wouldn't have been ready for a Jeff Lebby offense.
And then Jerry Jack Links, thank you for your super chat. Says silver lining, task positivity in Arch's ear on the sideline may be a good thing for a few weeks.
Maybe. I mean, he's on the other side of the ball. You know, that's what I would say to that. But not just task positivity. I mean, I think this team needs to come together as a team on offense in particular. I mean, defense is playing together and playing well. The offense is the one that needs to step that up. And I don't know if, you know, Taft being on the sidelines is never necessarily going to change that.
I think the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing for Arch is, you know, you just see the ball go through the hoop. You need to make a putt early, like really early in this game. You need positive things to happen, and you don't want to be a feel-good player like this. But you know, when you come off rough performance, and it has been a rocky season in terms of inconsistency, the best thing is to see that first shot go in. That first putt go in, that first ball on a crosser completed for a big gain. It's amazing what confidence does and how we've seen that wane in games. I think that's the biggest thing for Arch, man. Make your first three, dude. Knock down your first putt. Put your first drive in the middle of the fairway, however you want to say it. I think that would be very big for him Saturday.
Good, Manuel Villafranco can't have multiple 3-and-outs. I think we all agree with that. You can't leave your offense on our defense on the field for 80-plus plays. You just can't do it. Not on the road and expect to win. Last week, in my opinion, winning that game was somewhat of an anomaly with how poorly you played on offense. So.
Texas Jasper says zone read might help Arch in the O-line. Fits Arch talent and might slow the blitz/rush and help run game. Not a Sark Manning NFL scheme, but save the season.
I think we might see some. But to your point, Tex, I mean, Sark says he's going to call it a little differently this week. Scheme it a little differently. Adding the zone read would certainly be a little different. They use it so sparingly at this point. I don't think you're going to see him run it 10 to 15 times a game, though. I still think that would be probably too much, but 3 to 5 instead of 1 to 3, perhaps.
And Dante, talking about Vanderbilt here, says we can't look past any team, but I just saw Vandy's left guard. Guys, he is a giant, literally having his way. He's throwing defensive tackles around like they're kids.
Yeah, Cole Kobelik, the former Auburn offensive lineman that has his own show, showed video of the left guard decleating the defensive end and then going inside on a double team and decleating the defensive tackle, all on a single pass play. So if you wonder why Diego Pavia is having a bunch of time to run around back there, that left guard is one of the reasons why. Just like why Texas doesn't have a lot of time to run around right now and make plays off schedule is because of the offensive line. So there's a symbiotic relationship right now that is not working in favor of the Longhorns.
And Vanderbilt, very physical offense, very physical offense.
Then Spank B says there wasn't a soul on this channel, including myself, that thought the punt return team would be a strength. So I'm not going to lose hope for the offense. Hook 'em.
I think that's what has been really one of the cool things I've seen this year with is Ryan Niblett, because one, and he kind of starting to get to tell his story now. I think he mentioned that, hey, look, people wanted him to transfer and he stuck it out. And, you know, people were contacting him in the G5 laws. Hey, you can come catch 40 passes for 500 yards, and here's a little bit of NIL cash for you too if you do it. And I think it's been really cool before he started having success to see that in today's day and age, that if you stick it out and you're in a place you like and you appreciate where you're at, that some good things can happen for you, because he was moved from wide receiver to running back to nickel, back to offense. I mean, it has not been the smoothest, easiest path for him. So I think, one, that's cool for him. And I think it's really good to see that in college sports in a time where the portal is always the answer for everything, whether you're leaving or you're trying to recruit for out of the portal to your school. It's seemingly the answer for everything. And the reality is it's not. And it helps in some certain sense, but it's not the answer. Oregon had 270 yards and 20 points against Indiana at home. It's not always the answer. But the other thing is against Ohio State, and I said this during a watch with us, the punt that he fielded at the 50 when it was a contested punt catch situation, made the guy miss, returned it down to the 6. I don't think he fields that ball game 1 against Ohio State, Bobby. So that's where you've seen confidence and growth for him.
I would just say, Spank B, your super chat's dead on.
Yep.
I mean, dead on. I would not have, after that first game where I saw him let 3 punts drop and roll for 15 extra yards, no way I would have said that. I was calling for a different punt returner personally.
Yeah.
So to your point, does the offense still have some hope left in there? We'll see. They got to block somebody, though. They're blocking people on special teams. They got to block some people on offense now.
All right, Bobby, tell us about
Hey,
Vaughn
wait,
Lane.
time out.
What you got?
I want to, and when I say block people, okay, I am not singling out the offensive line. I want to be, I mean, that's the tight ends, that's the receivers. They all need to block somebody. People think, oh, well, you're talking just about I am not. There's been subpar blocking on every level of the Texas offense this year, in my opinion. So I'm calling out Emmett Mosley, DeAndre Moore, Ryan Wingo, Parker Livingston, Jack Endries, Jordan Washington, Nick Townsend at time. I mean, Emory, any of them. Pass protection, can't get moved back 2 yards when you make contact. All of it. So, anyways, I'm sorry. I want to make sure that people understood I'm not just picking on the offensive line. It's a team game, and they're having problems blocking no matter where it's at.
Bobby, tell us about Vaughn Lane this morning.
Yeah, I absolutely could do that. You know, I love Vaughn Lane. Rode them myself. This fall, the road to football and events runs through Vaughn Lane. Anywhere you want to go, whether it's Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands, you can skip the airport and grind and long drive. Instead, board in minutes, no TSA, no stress, and sink into one of just 22 oversized seats that recline 140 degrees. Fire up the Wi-Fi, plug in your laptop, or just lean back with a cold beer or cocktail while your attendant takes care of the rest. Vaughn Lane is booking now through the holidays, so secure your seat for football weekends, Thanksgiving, or Christmas travel. Reserve today at vaughnlane.com and use promo code OTF25 to save $20. Vaughn Lane, your private jet on wheels. And I would, again, stress no TSA and no stress. One of those 22 oversized seats. It is a good way to travel across major Texas cities.
Okay, and then we got a couple more before we call it a day. Rocky P says, I know the offense isn't good right now, but if we can go 10-2 and look ugly, I'll take it all day long. We just need to worry about the W and not about how we look getting it.
I agree.
Everybody would take it. Absolutely. You'd take it. The question is, can you do it against the schedule? But if you can, 100%, you'll take it.
Can you keep here's a question for y'all. Do y'all think you can keep every single team that you play the rest of the way under 24 points a game?
No.
Okay, so that means Vanderbilt, high-flying offense right now, top 10 offense in the country, right? Actually, Arkansas, A&M, and Georgia. Those are 4 of the top 7 offenses in the SEC. If you can keep them below 24 points, otherwise your offense has to get after it, man. I don't know that your defense is quote unquote that good. Is right. What I'm saying. They're good.
Yeah. Well, and Bobby, to your point, the problem is we touched on this, Rod, on state of the program yesterday. If your offense continues to struggle, then your defense is not going to play 75 plus snaps on defense and hold up all year. I mean, you're going to be playing against better quarterbacks and better personnel and better players than you did against Kentucky on offense. So That's the problem. And that's why I said 125 yards was like my rushing number for Mississippi State, because that means they're possessing the football enough that the defense isn't on the field for as many snaps. And I do think that's very important down the stretch. But no, and that's the thing. How many games has it been for the chat? Texas offense hadn't scored more than 17 dating back to last year against Power 4 teams. Where are we at? 9 games at this point? If that trend continues, then it gets tough because teams will score points on you. I mean, there's a road game coming in Georgia, right? And you have an improved A&M offense. You have an improved, more confident, year-older Vanderbilt offense. And Bobby Petrino will score. Now, you may beat him 38-32, 38-31, but Bobby Petrino is going to score points.
And our last one for today from Jonah Williams enthusiast.
Yeah.
Says if Texas scores more than 30 on Saturday,
100%.
Jerry needs to eat something.
It's not the recalled corn dogs have been thrown away finally. So I don't know. I mean, are there corn dogs? I got to check to see, can I buy new corn dogs now? I mean, is HEB the corn dogs the one we can eat now? I haven't done my research yet, but I will. And yes, if that happens live on air during the Watch With Us Saturday, if Texas scores 20 offensive points Saturday at Mississippi State, I will eat a corn dog live during the fourth quarter of the Watch With Us. 100%.
Hey,
Bye, guys.
I want to end this conversation today with this. Okay, there's news that came out, there's coming out currently, that an NBA coach and an NBA player caught up in a major gambling scheme. Okay, whether it's point shaving and or large poker games that are attached to the mafia. Okay, it doesn't matter to me. The irony of it all is earlier this month, the NCAA, this great organization, said it's okay for college players to bet on pro sports. So I just want to tell you guys that this is it's just more crazy rules, and I wish the NCAA really would just go away. I mean, they need somebody that has common sense, not an academic, not an athletic director, not a coach, but someone that has actual common sense running the organization and running all of college football. It is not, and I'll tell you, it is not a former coach. It's not a state senator that's a Democrat or a Republican. Don't care. It needs to be someone with like real common sense. Just go hire a guy from not from a league. Go hire somebody from business, because this is just Jerry's talking about guys from the G League playing in college basketball. Did you see Tom Izzo's, the Michigan State basketball coach? I mean, he's like, this is ridiculous.
We're failing the kids.
Yeah, we're failing the whole thing. I mean, so while the NBA has a coach apparently involved and a player point shaving, we're going to let college kids say, okay, it's okay to gamble as a college football player. You just have to gamble only on the NFL.
And by the way, when they have more money in their pocket than ever, one. But two, here's the other part of it. Every kid leaves high school with dreams of being a pro athlete. And at some point, for 99% of those guys, the dream dies. And then you become susceptible. You become easy marks. You become easy targets and easy marks.
They don't need easy marks. They had a guy, probably Chauncey Billups, making how much million a year as a coach? He's not even an easy target, theoretically.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Bobby, something else we didn't cover today. An SEC ref suspended for the rest of the remainder of the season.
That Auburn, Georgia guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Suspended for the rest of the year.
Was it him or his whole team suspended?
I think it was the whole crew, wasn't it?
Yeah. I read the article, but I just saw that there were some some comments from officials.
Permanently suspended, by the way.
Yeah.
Which that's very interesting.
I give up. It's a mess, but it's so fun to watch. That's why
Otani
we're all
Wimby,
here.
Otani
Yeah, man.
Wimby, Otani Wimby. We have special guys to watch that.
Yeah, but we need football special stars. We need them in Longhorn uniforms.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football presented by Vaughn Lane. I want to thank Vaughn Lane along with AG1, Prize Picks, Kirby Lane, Bubs Naturals, and Duck Camp for sponsoring today's show. Bobby, what's later today?
got the football theory coming up with Rod Babers. He and Jeff Howe are going to talk a little bit about that. Then we have the live stream later tonight. Steve Sarkisian also goes to the microphone today at around 11 o'clock. Jeff and CJ will have more from that. We hopefully will get an update as well on the injury list. Again, early this morning, or late last night, excuse me, Sark gave the injury list to the SEC. CJ Baxter, probable. Xavier Filsaime, probable. Good news there for the Longhorns. In my opinion, we could see the return of Baxter, and with it, hopefully, Jerry and Blake, an inside run game that has been absent almost the entire year.
Well, we will be back same time, same place tomorrow. So I hope you all have a great day today. For Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.